driving for, you know, a couple weeks now, but it's a pretty cool job, you know, in between, you know, working on projects and stuff. I actually have a YouTube channel, and I do like board game reviews and stuff. You should actually check it out. It's actually pretty cool. I used to live around here. Let me go check out my old house. Hang on a second. Oh man, hang on. There's a Pokemon stop right over here. Let me just pull over here and grab this. Hopefully there's a Pikachu out here I've been trying to get. So I got this friend who thinks the world is shaped like a cupcake. Real crazy. You know, who believes the world is shaped like a cupcake? Personally, I believe in the watermelon theory. It's like rain on your wedding day. It's the free line when you already paid. Sing along! Okay, here we are. So I hope you had a good ride. Ah, crap. Forgot to pick up the people again. Gotta remember, pick up the people, then drive to the place they want to go. Third time this week. Oh well. In Rideshare Wars, you and your opponents are all competing rideshare companies, attempting to have the most popular service in different cities and different areas of each of those cities as well. So I have the game set up here, and I've progressed the game a little bit because not a lot happens in the first couple turns. Stuff starts, you know, looking more interesting when you have stuff going on. So let me just explain what some of these areas are. Let me move my camera over here just a hair. Can't quite see everything in the camera, but that's okay. So we have right here, so these right here, these are all contested riders. So these are all the people we're trying to get to use our service and not our opponent's services. So we're trying to woo them over and collect them and have them use our services instead of all of our opponents. There are some cards over there. These are people that are just going to take regular taxis throughout the day, but you can also woo them off the sidewalk instead. There's a couple more decks here. Right now we are on the morning deck, which is just off camera right there. So we are in the morning of, well, it's only one day of stuff, but we're in the morning. Then there is an afternoon phase, and then there's an evening phase, and these are all the riders that you're going to have throughout. There are some tool cards and a couple different discard piles, and you can't see the other one, but there's a couple different discard piles because some cards will be discarded face down, and if you use a card, it'll be discarded face up. I have some other tool cards over here, and I'll explain why these particular ones are over here in just a second. And then we have over here, we have all of the milestones. So these are what you're collecting to try to win the game. This is one way that the game will end. Depending on the player count, if you get a certain amount of these milestones, a combination of the yellow and green ones, you will end the game right away and you will win. And if it doesn't go to that, if you go through all the decks, then you go to a points system to see who is the winner. So, when you start your turn, you will have a handful of driver cards. Next, you can leave these on the table because these are all the same. These just show you, this is like the currency of the game. So you have these driver cards, and you will be picking up these tool cards. Now, these tool cards will give you a really cool effect that you can use later on in the turns of the games. So let's go ahead and let's take my turn since it is my turn right now. So everybody is also given a little step-by-step guide so you know exactly how your turn is, so you don't have to refer to the rules every time. But the very first thing you do on your turn is you're going to draw a tool card. So let's see what we have here. We have Rough Ride, and that dude had a rough ride today. Pick him up and say hooray. So this one will let you draw 4 cards from the taxi rider pile and add 1 or more to your hand and then discard the rest. So that is actually really cool. So when you're able to use this card, you can draw some taxi riders that you wouldn't normally get because these aren't the people that are using your service. You can pick them up and woo one of those over to your side, and that'd be really cool. So that's a good card. That's a good card to have. Now, I had already had this cancel ride one, but that's the first thing you do is you draw one of those tool cards. The next thing you can do is you can displace a contested driver. So if you want to, you can go ahead and just get rid of one of your tool cards. If you decide to get rid of it, it's going to go face down into this messy discard pile. And you keep it messy, that way you don't mix it up from the draw pile. You can just spend a tool card to go ahead and choose one of the contested riders right here and go ahead and discard it. You can dump them out of there. So you can see what your opponent's doing, and if your opponent is loading up on certain things, you can go ahead and discard something so that way they don't get it. But that will cost you one of your tool cards. But that is completely optional if you want to do that. So the next thing you do is you're going to acquire a contested rider. So the way you do that is you're going to spend your driver cards to do that. So right now I have 5 driver cards, so I can get any of these riders if I wanted to, and their cost is how far down they are on the track there. So this one right here, the socialites right now, they only cost 1 driver. Accountants cost 2. The DJ will cost 3, and the socialites will cost 4. And this will slide down as stuff is acquired right here. So if we actually look over on my side here, let me move the camera again, and you can see what I am collecting right here. This is my side right here. I have everything kind of compacted together. You'd have it a little bit more spread out when you're actually playing, but all of this stuff is my stuff right here. So I have fans and a DJ, and they are all going to City D. The fans are going to Uptown, and the DJ is going to Downtown. So right now I have stuff going to City D, so City D is what I'm working towards. And right now I still have the most Uptown zones because my opponent hasn't gotten more than what I have, so I still have that. So let's see what we can get and what we want. Put the camera back there. Twist that back up here. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay. So I could grab this DJ because he wants to go to Uptown as well. And he actually gives me some pretty cool points because I already have a DJ. What this N is you get 2 times the number of that particular card. So he would be 2 times the number of DJs. So right now the DJs would be 2, so 2 times 2 would be 4. So he would give me 4 points. If I was able to get another DJ, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But let's see here. I could try for some more cities, because my opponent does have the most cities cards, because they have 2 different cities. So I could try for something else. I think I'm going to go for the DJ card. So the DJ card is 3rd from the bottom, so I'm going to have to pay 3 of my driver cards. So I'll place those into the driver discard pile. And I go ahead and I take that DJ and I place that into my hand. Actually, I'm going to set my driver cards off to the side, because this is technically what my hand is it is my tool cards and my rider cards. So the next step is you have to lay down one of your riders from your hand into your personal tableau. Now I only have 1 rider because that's the only one I picked up. I didn't pick up anything else, so that's the one I have to go ahead and play. So I'm going to scoot back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and play my DJ going to City D. He is going to the Uptown City D portion. So you go ahead and you place them in the same section as your other uptown cards. That way it keeps everything organized. So all of your City D uptowns will be in an area, all of your City D downtowns, and all of your midtowns will all be together, and you'll keep them in nice organized columns. That is all that does right now. Next up is I can play a couple optional actions. So the optional actions, if I can get my camera to be right here, is there's a separate card here, and it gives you a list of optional actions. Now these are all rider card actions. You can gain a rider from the taxi riders pile. You can acquire one rider from the curbside. Any contested rider or any curbside rider card swaps. You can swap around some cards if you wanted to. Tableau or curbside rider swap at the same city, so you could swap some cards around if you wanted to do that, or you can bank a rider card. And banking a rider card is if I had a rider card in my hand, I can place it face down in my area, but my opponent wouldn't know what that is. So if I want to do any of those actions, it costs me a tool card. So I have to take one of my tool cards, it's going to go face down into that pile. My opponent won't know what I discarded. However, there are also these tool actions. So if I want to play a tool card that is absolutely free, I can just go ahead and play the tool card and do the effect that is on there. Or if I wanted to gain an extra tool card, I can discard two of my drivers from my driver pile, and I can gain another tool card if I'm trying to get a specific tool, or if there's something specific that I really want to do. You know what, right now I think I'm going to go ahead and do this rough ride. So the rough ride says to draw 4 cards from the taxi rider pile, add 1 or none to your hand, and then discard the rest. So that goes into the face up pile because I'm using it for its effect. And I will grab 4 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see what we got here. We got Mr. Grumpy right here. Mr. Grumpy's bad because he gives you negative points if you have to go 2 points. And there's another Mr. Grumpy here. He's actually not too bad. He's worth 3 times the number of Mr. Grumpy, so that might be something good to wash out that first one. But unfortunately, I'm not going to get both. These party people are apparently pretty loud, so they're worth -2 per party people. And we got some fans. And you know what? I'm going to take the fans because the fans are worth 3 points, and they're the least rowdy of everything. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to discard these riders there. So these discarded riders are going to go into a messy discard pile right there because my opponent won't get to know what they are. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place these fans into my hand. Then you check to see if you've earned any of the milestones. So right now I have 2 uptowns. My opponent only has 1 uptown, so I still have the most uptowns. I don't have that. And see here, we are equal right here still on our downtowns, and my opponent has the downtown card. So I would need another downtown to be able to take that from them, and I could take that from them if I wanted to, if I was able to earn that. So then you go ahead and you check your hand size, because you can only have 4 rider cards and 3 tool cards in your hand at a time. So I am well within that limit. Then we go ahead and set up the contested riders for the next player. So you slide everybody down and you pull out the next card. So we have more fans out there. So you will continue this until, you'll put out the last one, but then you'll keep going. Everybody will grab some cards and then there'll be none left. And once that happens, you go on to a little bit of end phase stuff. First thing you do is whoever had the first player card, they go ahead and they immediately take 2 driver cards right there, because they will be the last player. When you set up the game, whoever's last player gets these 2 extras, because when you're pulling the cards, they won't get a choice in that last one. There's only going to be 1 left. They have to take that one. So that's why they get a couple extras, just to make it a little bit more fair for them. Then you do go ahead and you pass on the first player card to whoever will be first player next. Everybody that's on the curb goes ahead and gets discarded, and new ones will come out. And then anything that is in a face-up pile will then get shuffled. And then any of the discarded tool cards, face up or face down, will go ahead and get shuffled back into the main deck. Now, these over here I didn't explain. There are some cards that have red text on them. Now, if you draw a tool card and it has the red text says, play this card immediately. So you play it and it happens right away. Well, with these cards, only the first 2 that come up in a given round are going to be the only 2 that happen. And if any come up after that, just go ahead and you ignore those. Those just go ahead and get discarded into the face-up pile, and you just draw another card. So you only have to worry about 2 bad things happening in each section of the game. So that will be all set up. And again, the first player to either earn a set amount of the achievements right here, or if it comes down to it, you'll go ahead and you'll count up all of your points, and whoever has the most points will be the winner of Rideshare Wars.
Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Pull up a chair at punchboardmedia.com.
So that was Rideshare Wars. This is an interesting little game, and it has a super unique theme. Now, I'm sure there might be some kind of a taxi game or something like that, but this kind of brings it all a lot more modern with the rideshare concept, and this is actually really, really cool. I love the art in this game. It is really cool. It kind of has a Munchkin-ish feel to it, and I kind of like Munchkin art, so if you like that, this might be your aesthetic. But it is pretty cool. I like one of my favorite cards is just, the dudes. Here's just 2 dudes, but they are pretty cool. And trying to figure out how to do this set collection, because that's pretty much what this game is you're trying to collect these sets and maximize your points and everything like that. It's an interesting puzzle and very interesting to try to figure out how to get what you need, and also watching what your opponents are doing and kind of seeing if anything that you would do benefits you and kind of, hurt their stuff, which kind of makes you feel like a real company in this, rideshare war. Hey, it's in the name. But definitely, this is a pretty interesting little game, and I would definitely suggest checking this out on Kickstarter. So down below, I'm going to have a link for their Kickstarter as soon as that goes live, so you can all go and check that out. And for me, myself, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and help support Cloak and Meeple. You can get a Cloak and Meeple shirt from geekygoodies.com. You can go over to Podpledge or Patreon to donate to Cloak and Meeple. Give me some better equipment, maybe a camera so I can get the full game in view, so I don't have to move stuff around so much. But any kind of support will be greatly, greatly appreciated. And also, subscribing always helps. And thanks for watching. So that is Rideshare Wars. That was upside down. It's like rain on your wedding day. It's the free line when you already paid. Sing along!